Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to COASTER-net Update. We've got some breaking news out of Six Flags Over Texas and Arlington. They just finally announced the worst kept secret in coasters probably this summer. A Giga Dive. The biggest question is what would the name of this ride be? And it is indeed Tormenta Rampaging Run. So a nice little subtitle. They love subtitles all of a sudden too.
They
Um,
do.
yeah, like just really long coaster names like Wrath of Rakshasha and like it just used to be like Tormenta or Rakshasha. And now we have these long extended titles to fill up the page and fill up the copy. Um, Jeff, you got some of the stats for us, I think, for Tormenta. Why don't you give us a little rundown of what this ride looks like?
Sure, yeah. It's the tallest of all the dive coasters at 309 feet. It's gonna have a 95-foot beyond vertical drop, 285 feet. It's gonna go 87 miles per hour, and it's got a couple of record-breaking inversions. So it's got the highest Immelman at 218 feet and the tallest vertical loop at 179 feet. And it looks like a pretty cool layout. Riders will ascend a 309-foot tall lift hill. They'll get a brief panoramic view before they turn to the right, stop at the brink of the drop, which is, every coaster's signature feature. And we thought it was kind of weird that there's no plaza underneath this one because of the way the layout works, right?
Yeah, according to all the pictures, and what I would assume, knowing the park, that this is going in the La Vibora spot, that this is right next to the parking lot. So the way that the pictures have shown that first drop, that the best place to view the first drop is gonna be the parking lot. And there still looks like there's a few things that need to change. We looked at the one picture, and it's got some supports in the middle of the parking lot, which I don't know how safe that is. So I'm sure
Yeah.
there's going to be a few alterations to what's going on here in these images and where the parking lot starts and the park starts and the parking lot stops. But that would be different for the dives. Like Shikra is a little bit off. Like you still stand next to it. Like
Yeah.
at Williamsburg, you can literally stand under it. Valraven, you're literally right there next to it. Um, I guess, even Dorney, like with Iron Menace, you're
Yeah,
really
you can
right there.
pretty much right next to it too. Yeah.
So this is different that it's going to be way off the midway.
Yeah.
And you're going to see it in the distance, and maybe that'll be cooler for a skyline perspective.
Yeah.
It's going to be an impressive structure. 300 feet. Even though it's not a 300-foot drop, I don't were people expecting that? I don't know.
I
Um,
was.
well, you were, but like to be honest with you, like records and gigas and hypers, they've always been based on the height, not so
Yeah.
much the drop. So,
Yeah, you're
um,
still gonna get a 309-foot height out of this thing, and it looks like a nice big view. It looks like you're gonna be facing like the parking plaza. So as you enter the park, this is gonna be like the visual focus for you.
and like you'll have the oil rig tower on like the opposite side, so it's kind of like gonna balance out that skyline a little bit, I think, if you
Mhm.
look at it like a straight across. The colors are interesting, brown and a light tan. They went with the darker brown for the supports, the light tan for the track. Um, Looks cool. Like just looking at the pictures, that light tan really pops off the
Mhm.
brown. I said, well, maybe it would be better if you switch the colors, but I don't know. That looked too much like Montu probably.
I
So
don't know. I think it works. I like it. I think it works for the theme too.
yeah, and the elements, it does look like it has a pretty interesting layout. So
Yeah.
for a dive coaster,
Yeah.
usually you get a few good elements. You get the first drop, and maybe you get one or two elements after that on the whole ride. This one seems like it's like a lot of inversions, kind of taking that concept of like maybe like an Iron Menace, but putting on a much grander scale, much bigger scale, doing it full size. So you're going to get those huge inversions that will have records up until Falcon's Flight opens up, and then that's just gonna pretty much take every record ever created.
Yeah. Well, I mean, once you go down that first drop, you're gonna go straight into the first Immelman, which is 218 feet. Now, that would be the tallest inversion in the world, but we don't know when Viper at in Saudi Arabia is going to open. So that
Yeah.
one's supposed to be a little bit taller. But that's pretty cool. I mean, a 218 foot inversion, whether it's the tallest or second tallest, that's going to be a pretty cool effect. You're going to roll out and you're going to pass the cutback. So I think everybody on the left side of the train is going to get a really cool hand chopper effect. The ride continues to go down. You go back up into a vertical loop, 179 feet, tallest vertical loop in the world. So again, you're starting off with really big elements.
Hmm.
Um, and then you're going into another Immelman, but this one is there's three Immelmans, but they're all three profiled really different. So I think
Yeah.
that's neat too. So this one rolls out and levels out like right at the top, so it doesn't like really descend at all. Goes into the mid course, and then the third Immelman, it's kind of like it's kind of like a sidewinder actually. If it was narrow, I think they'd call it a sidewinder because you
Hmm.
kind of make a turn coming out of it. And I can't think of another B&M that has a cutback turn. You can tell me down below if I'm wrong, I guess. But again, that's something unique to this ride, something a little bit different.
So I think the elements on it are going to be pretty good for and having that train with the wide train, like you get some pretty intense forces if you sit on the outside of those seats. Um, and I it's going to be a good ride. Like it's going to be a good ride. But before we get into that, let's talk about the name a little bit.
Sure.
That was the big question mark coming into this. They went with we thought it was going to be a Spanish theme.
Yeah.
We thought it was going to be a bull theme somehow based on the
Yeah.
teaser campaign that they were doing
Yeah.
with open the gates and drop the
Yeah,
gates and
drop the gates. Yeah.
drop
So
the
that's like
gates.
that's signifying like letting the bulls go, I guess, you know.
Yeah. So Tormenta, a cool name, I think, a really cool word, doesn't translate from Spanish or anything like that. The logo itself, pretty cool looking logo. You have like the name, the word mark, and then you have the eyes of the bull in the back, and then you have like the running guy in the front. So just an interesting, I think, logo too. And it's going into the Spanish part of the park that La Vibora was in already. That El Aserdero, I can't ever say that one. The log
Sounds
flume,
right.
the log flume is still there.
Yeah.
So I think with that kind of stuff that they've been doing a pretty good job with marketing their rides with a cool name. Tormenta just sounds cool. It just sounds like I know PETA's already up in arms about it, but you know what? Who cares? Whatever. Um,
Hey, the guy's the one getting hurt.
yeah, right. It's not the bull. Well, maybe I don't know. I don't know anything about it that much. But it just has a cool name to it. The logo's good enough. I think the t-shirts will look cool. Hopefully, they do a lot of brown t-shirts, not black.
Yeah.
Some brown and yellows. Like it's gonna look good. I think it's gonna be nice. The big debate. We didn't come right out with this video because everyone kind of knew. So we kind of been reading the responses to this, and there seems to be two camps of people upset that this is a dive coaster, another dive coaster. That we've had a number of dive coasters in the last few years, kind of starting with Valraven, right? Really? Like that was the one
Yeah.
that kicked us.
I'm not upset about that, the model choice. Like I do like dive coasters. I say put them one in every market. Like they're a crowd pleaser. I like them, but like I get it that they're kind of like one trick ponies, and some people just think they're I don't know waste of space, but I don't.
Well, I get it from a Thuzy perspective because like yes, this is going to be maybe the best of the dive coasters. That you had two really good dive coasters right out the gate with Shikra and Griffin. And then we kind of like waited this forever, and now we start seeing these dive coasters going in everywhere. We start seeing them in Europe. Then we had Emperor in San Diego. We had Valraven in Cedar Point, Yukon Striker at Canada, and then we start getting all the smaller dive coasters with Iron Menace and Rakshasha. Um, I will say that if you have a single coaster that is going to make an impact for the local market, it's going to be a dive coaster. I hate to say
Yeah.
it, that when you're a high school teacher as well, whenever I show videos of roller coasters, it's the dive coaster that always gets people like worked up. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I would never do that. Or that it's so high up and then you're stuck up there and then it just kind of drops you. Like everyone always gets freaked out by the people thought, well, the tilt coaster would do that. And the tilt coaster does it a little bit, but I still think the dive coaster has that much more impact on a local market than maybe any other ride type that we've seen.
Yeah, I feel like every single clickbait video that I've ever seen that says, "Would you ride this?" is
Yeah.
basically Shikra. And like
Yeah.
they're still just using Shikra. I will give them credit. Like I like Shikra a lot. That's like a really good intro to the dive coaster. I think Griffin still runs really well, but as they've gone on, the layouts have become a bit more interesting. So like, it's not just like Immelman dive, back to the station. Like, they're definitely trying harder.
Well, but now I will now speak from the Thuzy perspective.
Okay.
I get it. I get it that we are sitting here in America, and when is the last time that we were really taught? Like, and granted, like Florida seems to be leading the charge on this lately. That it's mind-boggling to think that Florida is the area that is currently putting in the best coasters in the world, in America at least. Maybe not so much the world, because we see a lot of good stuff going all over the world.
Yeah.
Europe's getting a lot of good coasters. They keep teasing more stuff every single day. There's some more stuff that came out today about stuff going on in Europe, and in Korea too is teasing all of a sudden new coasters. And we sit here in America, and yes, the Steel Vengeance, okay, 2018. That's 7 years ago already. Velocicoaster, Star Dust Racers. I always want to say Starfall, but Star Dust Racers now. These are the best things that we have, and I get it that people want more. People want more intense rides. People want more rides that they can legitimately say are going to be in their top 25. And for a person that's been on, 300, 400, 500, 1,000 coasters, I don't know if this is going to break their top 25. I get it. I get it. That
Yeah.
we say in the Thrilling 32, we say in the opening that we're always searching for the next best ride, right? So
Yeah.
I understand more than most this desire to search for the next best ride, but I also understand the desire that a park needs to fill the park every day, and the Thuzies aren't doing it. The Thuzies will hold the park down, will buy the season passes, but you have to have the support of the local people to be able to run the park. And granted, I'm not going to disparage anyone who says that they're, nonplussed by this, that they're, a little meh about this. But if we're going to get down to it and you're looking for the best of a type, probably this is going to be the best dive coaster we've seen, right?
It could. I think it looked to me, from my eyes, it looks like either this is going to be it or Rock Sasha is going to be it because like they're the two new ones and like they're the
Yeah. Well,
shining new
and then you
toy.
have Yukon Striker that everyone was raving about.
Yeah.
And this looks like it's going to be a little like I think this looks a little bit better than Yukon personally. I've
Eh,
not been on Yukon
Yeah.
yet. Um,
So I
now,
know on Iron Menace the it's a short drop, but like that the fact that it's beyond vertical really makes it more fun. So
yeah.
being that this is a very large drop, a Orion sized drop, that it is going to be really cool to have a 95-degree, you know, 285-foot drop. It's going to be awesome. I think that's going to be a good first drop.
And to be completely honest with you, I was a little bit shocked that when Cedar Point came out with Valraven, that they did not go bigger with Valraven. Like that's I still don't understand because how tall is Valraven? I forget. Valraven wasn't that tall. It was
230.
just 223.
All right.
Like so like I that was the thing that always surprised me about Valraven is that they didn't go taller. They didn't go giga. And obviously they did not have this in plans because who would have thought when
All right.
Valraven opened that Six Flags would be merged with Cedar Fair at this point. Um
No,
but
but I
so
do
now we have it.
remember when Yukon Striker was being built, everybody was questioning, is that going to be a Giga? So it kind of
Yeah.
took a long time for us to get to that height.
Yeah, and I wonder if B&M was a little hesitant to do it because of the bigger trains, but it looks like they've gone all in on it. So that's the exciting part of this is finally we're gonna get that Giga dive coaster realized. Um, and it's going to be a crowd pleaser that everyone I hear talks because I haven't been to Six Flags Great America yet to ride Rock Sasha, but everyone that goes there is like, oh my God, it was so scary, and it draws people to it. It's a visual event, it's a midway event, and people are going to be drawn to this ride. So I 100% understand the park's perspective, and they have been wildly successful. In the places that they've gone in Dorney, in Great America, well, not know so much about Cedar Point. Like Valraven is a good part of the
Yeah.
collection. It was very popular for its time, but now it like I was just there a few days ago, and Valraven has definitely taken a hit on the morning attendance. That people are clearly moving past it to go to other things, which I always expected to happen at Cedar Point. Like Cedar Point is I, the funny part about Cedar Point. I'll talk about this because why not? Because why can't we turn everything into a Cedar Point show here? Um, I was thinking to myself, Cedar Point is kind of like the Comic Con of the San Diego Comic Con of theme parks because
Sure.
everyone is in the parks wearing either a Cedar Point T-shirt or another T-shirt from another roller coaster or another park. It's kind of like the mecca of roller coasters. That if you're going to go to one place in the world to ride roller coasters, and everyone celebrates the coasters there, so it's not just like you go to any other theme park, and you might find a few shirts here and there from that theme park. Cedar Point's like the only place that you can guarantee to see a handful of t-shirts, probably more than a handful, of not only of coasters in the park, but coasters from other parks as well. So it's kind of like the San Diego Comic-Con of theme parks. I don't even know why I said that, but so and that's why I think Valraven's kind of fallen off too, because it's impressive, but there's more impressive things to ride. Whereas
Yeah.
over Texas, like New Texas Giant is dated.
Mm,
Titan is really dated,
yeah.
and they just have an older collection of coasters, and hopefully this breathes new life into over Texas, which is a huge market. Texas, Dallas, a huge market, and I think they really need to get that park on track to solve some of their attendance issues across the whole chain.
Yeah, we saw regular investments in Fiesta Texas for a while, but Over Texas was kind of overlooked, and it's good that they got something big to kind of kick this off again and hopefully get everybody in the Dallas area kind of reinvigorated on their own home park.
And in fairness too, I'm going to throw this out there that I think a lot of decisions being made in the chain right now. B&M is an American company. The rides are going to be
Uh,
cheaper because of the tariffs.
sure.
It's we're going to see a lot of American made rides going into these parks because they don't want to pay the 20 to 30% upcharge. And when you're talking about millions of dollars, a
It's a big
20%
deal. Yeah.
upcharge
Yeah.
is pretty steep for a company that you know, I think people are over exaggerating how much they're struggling. They're struggling, yes, but I think people are really over exaggerating how much that struggle actually is. I think they'll come out of this. They're going to make a turn here eventually. But you can't make stupid decisions. Like this is the time that you can't just throw money around and hope that it sticks. So they're going with an American made company. They're going with a known crowd pleaser that's going to bring the local market into the park. So from a business perspective, this totally makes sense. Like they will take the loss of the 5,000 enthusiasts out there that might travel to the park. If you can make up for 5,000 families coming in the door, spending money, buying merch, buying dinners, buying parking, paying for all, maybe being first time pass holders for all we know. So
Okay.
all of that plays into this, and I
We're
and
we're coming anyway. Don't fool yourself. We're coming
exactly they're going to
anyway.
show up anyway. And Texas was one of the places I actually had on my list. I don't know. Um,
I might be there in March if they open it fast. You never know.
well, they're not going to open up a ride in March. It's still Six Flags. Come on now. Come on now. Um, so I think just everything makes sense with this ride. Everything lines up, and it lines up with the current climate. And I understand the frustration, but I also don't know like where down the road when this stuff is going to let up. So if they keep charging these tariffs, I just don't see like Universal can afford it. Universal can afford the Intamins and the Max and whatever. Um, and Disney can afford the Intamins and the Max, but I just don't see Cedar Fair having that luxury of throwing around an extra 20% to import a coaster.
It's time to get those SNS accesses.
Well,
Utah.
I'm telling you this. If ever there was a time to strike, now is the time. Um,
25% off.
25% off. Like right. And that's the thing. The coasters that people want to see are all foreign made coasters. Vekoma, Mac,
Tacomas, yeah.
Intamin. I I'm
What?
gonna have some bad news for you. You know, not to be bad news Barrett here, but I don't know how long it's gonna be because parks plan these things out long in advance. How long is it going to be? You know, are we going to wait to see this stuff let up? So I don't know. We shall see. But any final thoughts here on Tormenta?
I think it's good. I can't wait to get out there and give it a shot. I hope it opens in March and we don't have to wait until July. I always like it when it's cool out.
Wait,
Come
why
on.
are you bringing up people's hopes that it's going to open in March? There is
Because
0% chance it's going to open in March.
I don't know, they already started building it.
It's Texas. The weather should be good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So okay.
Well, they've been
Anyway,
trapped there for
thank
a
you for
while.
yeah, thank you for joining us here on Coast and Update. I'm of course Andrew Barchak from Chicago, Illinois.
I'm Jeff Goodman on Long Island, New York.
Right on, Red Warriors.